Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. The shutdown of the federal government is almost over, and Montana's U.S. senators were on opposite sides of today's vote to break a budget impasse and reopen the federal government.
Just about an hour ago, Congress approved a stopgap spending bill that will keep the government running for 2.5 weeks, and the president is expected to quickly sign that legislation. Republican Senator Steve Daines voted in favor. Daines noted that the deal includes long-term funding for the Children's Health Insurance Plan and said the Democrats' shutdown was pointless. But Democratic Senator Jon Tester was among the 18 members who voted no, most of them Democrats. A spokesman for Tester said the senator does not support either short-term deal that doesn't include funding for community health clinics or certainty for our military.
This disagreement among Democrats and Republicans mostly centered around the fate of dreamers, the immigrants brought illegally to the U.S. as children.
CBS's Mola Lengi has more on the bipartisan compromise from Capitol Hill.
If not, the yeas are 81, the nays are 18.
The Senate approved a short-term spending bill Monday that will end a 3-day shutdown of the federal government.
Soon, federal operations will be getting back to normal for the American people. We all know what comes next, challenging negotiations on a host of serious issues.
Mr. President.
The majority of Democrats and nearly all Republican senators voted for the legislation that extends federal spending until February 8th. They reversed their opposition after Republicans agreed to bring a bill to the floor to address dreamers, immigrants brought illegally to the U.S. as children.
The Republican majority now has 17 days to prevent the dreamers from being deported.
The deal was reached following meetings Sunday and Monday between Republican and Democratic senators.
Lawmakers were unable to reach a compromise before a midnight deadline on Friday to avert a shutdown. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders read a statement from the president.
I am pleased that Democrats in Congress have come to their senses.
The House also passed the legislation.
This past week once again exposed the utter incompetence of the Republican-controlled government.
This is not a moment to pat ourselves on the back, not even close. We very much need to heed the lessons of what just happened here.
President Trump could sign the bill that will officially end the shutdown as early as this evening. Mola Lengi, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The president held a couple of meetings with various senators today to discuss a path forward on immigration reform. Switching now to weather, we have more rain and snow in the forecast. Some spots of western Montana a little slick out there right now. Let's toss it over to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost, who has all that information for us. Aaron.
Yeah, right now we are dealing with a lot of snow activity along Interstate 90 just west of Missoula. Things going to stay here pretty slick for the next few hours. This was earlier today in Hamilton. First Security Bank iCam showing you some of those gray skies. And throughout much of the day, we've been very hit and miss with these lightly scattered snow showers. But this slightly more organized push now moving into west central Montana, which is the reason we could see some slick spots, especially upcoming here for Highway 93 as we move into the next few hours. This disturbance will pass through overnight tonight, and we will see a dry slot move in. Much of your Tuesday expecting to be dry and uneventful. That'll change though. More details coming up.
And a reminder, you can always get those information on the changing conditions in western Montana throughout the week. All you need is a mobile device. Just download the KPAX Storm Tracker weather app on the go to get those forecasts from our Storm Tracker weather team. It's free on the Google Play or the App Store. A Missoula man dies in a weekend avalanche while riding a motorized snow bike near Yellowstone Park. Gallup National Forest Avalanche Center officials report that 46-year-old Raymond John Moe of Missoula was riding with another Missoula man and 2 Canadians when the slide struck. The fatal avalanche happened Saturday east of Rays Peak in Idaho's Island Park. That's about 28 miles from West Yellowstone. Moe and another rider had gone about 15 feet off the trail up the side of a drainage when they triggered an avalanche about 200 to 300 feet above them. The avalanche was about 600 feet wide and an estimated 2.5 feet deep. Moe was the only rider buried in the slide. All of them had emergency transceivers and rescue gear. The incident marks the second avalanche-related death in Fremont County, Idaho in the past 2 weeks. Influenza shows no signs of slowing down, with Flathead County continuing to lead the state with the most confirmed cases. The weekly flu report from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services reports 89 new cases of influenza in Flathead County in a 1-week span from January 7th to the 13th. So far this season, Flathead County has reported over 300 cases, the most of any Montana county. In Missoula County, there are 87 confirmed cases now, while Ravalli County has 44, 52 so far in Lake County this season. State health officials report there have been 18 deaths in Montana attributed to influenza. All but 2 of those have been adults over the age of 65.
Today, Montana became the first state in the nation to safeguard internet freedom. Governor Steve Bullock signing an executive order requiring internet providers to commit to net neutrality principles if they're going to get state contracts. Bullock made the announcement this morning in front of a computer science class at Helena High School. The FCC repealed national rules regulating net neutrality last month. Bullock says that by July, any company that gets an internet or data contract from the state must commit to never block or slow down lawful content or services or give favorable treatment to some content in exchange for money. A number of internet providers immediately made statements promising to continue to follow those principles. Bullock says Montanans expect a free and open internet.
What we're asking now is to make sure that more than just statements, that they will commit to that. So there are specific requirements of what they will need to adhere to, and also the information that they'll have to give to all Montanans when it comes to net neutrality.
Bullock also urged leaders from other states to make the same type of commitment to help consumers. The Ravalli County Sheriff is continuing to investigate an attempted murder in Victor last week. At this time, the sheriff has not released the suspect's name. Ravalli County Dispatch got a call at 12:30 January 19th of a man having a medical issue who was assaulting family members. The investigation that follows stated that after becoming erratic and threatening, the man was escorted from the home, but then authorities say he returned to the home and gained entry by breaking a window with a snow shovel. He's accused of attacking 2 people inside using sheep shears and broken glass. Those 2 people were treated for non-life-threatening injuries at the hospital. The assailant also treated for wounds from that broken glass. We'll continue to follow up on the story as the Sheriff's Department continues its investigation.
The Big Arm Post Office remains closed as the State Fire Marshal's office continues to look into the cause of that fire that cost an estimated $40,000 damage. About 25 firefighters from multiple agencies tackled that blaze January 9th, and they had it knocked down in about an hour. State Fire Marshal Investigator Pat Clinch, who conducted the on-scene investigation, says they're still following up several leads. Initially, it was thought the fire started inside the building. The closure is forcing customers to use the Elmo Post Office for mail pickup and delivery.
That's a lease building, so the leaseor will repair that building at the government standard. When they do repairs, they're bigger outfits. This one's owned by a property management outfit in Spokane.
The official cause of the fire is still unknown, with no timetable on how long it will take to complete that investigation.
It is Sex Trafficking Awareness Month, and the issue is a growing problem in Montana, and it's one that drew law enforcement from around the Flathead Valley to Flathead Valley Community College. It was back in April of last year. Several people were busted in a sex trafficking sting in the Kalispell area. 7 people were charged with soliciting prostitution. Now, those arrests were the result of an operation conducted in the Kalispell area to deter people from engaging in the solicitation of prostitution and to reduce the potential for sex trafficking of adults and minors. That effort continued today with officers from the Kalispell Police Department and those from Columbia Falls and Whitefish, Probation and Parole, the Highway Patrol, and the Flathead County Sheriff's Department. This was a training session led by Detective Guy Baker, who's with the Missoula Police Department. Baker's been working sex trafficking cases since 2010 and has trained more than 1,000 law enforcement officers. He says this kind of training educates law enforcement on the extent of the crime here in Montana, what to look for in identifying victims, how to treat them, interviewing strategies, and how to put a case together. He says he hopes the officers will take away a better awareness because he says that along with education, that's part of the key to fighting this crime.
This is a crime that is supply and demand driven, and if there wasn't a demand in the Flathead Valley, it wouldn't be here. So the fact that it is shows that there is a demand and there's a segment of society that is engaged in this type of criminal activity.
There is a free seminar for the community that's underway at Flathead High School. If you're looking for a way to enjoy the outdoors this weekend, eat really good food prepared by top chefs, and learn how to curl, you should go to Paws Up Ranch in Greeno. The resort at Paws Up is hosting its annual Winterfest this Thursday through the weekend. Winterfest has a number of different activities planned, including a curling tournament put on by the Missoula Curling Club, horse-drawn sleigh rides, live local music, and ice skating. Also, there's food provided from renowned chefs like Top Chef winner Brooke Williamson and Paws Up executive chef Sunny Jen. All the chefs will be utilizing local Montana ingredients to create their menu for this event.
As soon as we start to see as soon as I get a full idea of the 4 seasons here, then we can find what's usable, what's not, and just experiment. That's the fun of cooking. It changes every time, and there are no set rules or responsibilities we have to hold to. We just have to make sure it tastes good and that people enjoy what they're eating.
There are some special rates available for this event. For all that information and about the activities planned, just go to our website, KPAX.com. And still ahead, we have more snow and rain in the forecast for the week. We have Aaron on deck next for that.
And we'll see where Montana ranks in highway safety after the release of a new survey today. That story and a lot more is still coming up here on KPAX.